Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating story called The Walls That Washed Away. It's a gripping look at human nature, showing us exactly how a devastating natural disaster can completely shatter not just physical homes, but the deeply ingrained emotional walls between two neighboring families. We're going to see a massive shift from bitter rivalry to ultimate unity. So, let's get into it. Right off the bat, let's consider this sharp, stinging quote from a mother-in-law, Kunti Devi. Imagine waking up to this every single morning. It instantly throws us into the highly toxic, micromanaged environment our main character, Anjali, is dealing with. Just picture it. She's trying to draw clean water from a well, and she's being accused of staring too longingly at the house next door. It really sets the stage, right? A story just soaked in suspicion and control. Section 1. The Divided Neighbors. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this dynamic, we've got to understand the physical layout of their village in Devpur, because geography plays a huge role in their family politics. The absolute crux of this is a bamboo fence. It's way more than just a property line. It's this physical manifestation of ego and jealousy. I mean, it's so tightly woven, so rigid, that Anjali's mother, Yashoda, literally has to sneak through a tiny gap in it just to pass her daughter a bowl of her favorite arbi leaves and fish. She's absolutely terrified of sparking a massive argument over something so small. It's honestly a cruel geographical irony. You see, Anjali's two families, her parents on one side and her in-laws on the other, are practically sharing a property line. Yet, they are separated by these massive emotional walls. She's completely trapped in the middle, losing her spark as she tries to navigate this incredibly intense physical proximity paired with such extreme emotional distance. Section 2, Seeds of Petty Conflict. Now, what's really fascinating here is how these emotional walls bleed into everyday life. The tension doesn't just sit there, it actively breeds conflict. On one side, we've got the mothers fighting this intense turf war over Anjali's loyalty. Kunti Devi is micromanaging literally everything. She's arguing over things as trivial as the amount of water and salt in the dal, totally convinced Anjali is always distracted by her maternal home next door. And on the flip side, you have Yashoda, fiercely protective, watching her daughter's happiness just fade away while feeling completely helpless. And of course, it isn't just the mothers. The fathers are actively clashing over pride, property, and their professions. You've got Mohan's chickens wandering over the fence to snack on Prakash's drying grains, which sparks this incredibly bitter feud. Prakash threatens to beat the chickens with a stick, and Mohan shoots right back, complaining about Prakash's cows trespassing. It's just constant bickering. This back and forth brilliantly highlights the sheer weight of their egos. What starts as a silly argument over chickens quickly spirals into this arrogant debate about farming methods. Mohan takes immense pride in generations of traditional knowledge, while Prakash is over there boasting about his modern chemical fertilizers. Neither man is willing to bend an inch, compromise, or, heaven forbid, learn from the other. That bamboo fence might as well be a solid brick wall. Section 3. The Devastating Flood. But, as it so often does, nature has a way of violently interrupting our petty human dramas. All those arguments we just talked about, they're about to be put into terrifying perspective. Just think about how incredibly fast this escalates. In a matter of hours, a heavy afternoon storm morphs into an absolute nightmare. By evening, the riverbank just completely gives way. Because Mohan's fields and home are sitting in a lower-lying area, the water just rushes right in. By nightfall, Mohan is literally standing in waist-deep, freezing floodwater inside his own living room. The devastation here is absolute. Suddenly, that argument over a chicken eating a few grains of rice means absolutely nothing. An entire year's livelihood, all those expensive seeds, the fertilizer, the backbreaking labor, is just swallowed whole by the floodwaters. Both of the men's fields are completely, entirely submerged. Section 4. Shelter from the Storm. Now, with their home actively flooding and their actual survival on the line, Mohan and Yashoda are faced with a truly agonizing choice. The only higher ground nearby is the home of the very people they were bitterly fighting with just hours ago. Can you even imagine the heavy psychological burden of this moment? Listen to Mohan's realization right here. The sheer embarrassment of having to seek refuge from the neighbor you just declared your bitter enemy. All that traditional pride he had, it's completely shattered by the reality of the rising water. Stripped of their pride and, frankly, their possessions, Mohan and Yashoda have to act fast. They abandon the flooded house, grabbing only the barest essentials: A few dry clothes, some beaten rice known as chuda, and a bit of jaggery or gore. Carrying these little bundles on their heads, they literally have to fight their way through freezing, waist-deep water in the pitch black just to reach Prakash's door. Section 5. Walls washed away. Now we reach the climax of the story. This is the exact moment where the physical storm forces those massive emotional walls to finally crumble. They arrive at that door fully expecting hesitation, or maybe even flat-out rejection. But instead of being turned away or mocked for their arrogance earlier that day, the doors are thrown open immediately. Prakash and Kunti meet them with instant compassion. They rush to provide dry clothes, warm blankets, and a safe space on their elevated porch. No questions asked. And this sentiment from Kunti Devi is just incredibly powerful. Think about it. The woman who that very morning was accusing Anjali of staring at the neighbor's house is now warmly welcoming them in. It literally took losing almost everything for them to realize that their shared humanity and their sheer survival are infinitely more important than their petty squabbles. Just think about how this shared humanity plays out in real time. Huddling together in a single safe room to survive the night. Both families pool their meager little rations of chuda and gur. In this deeply vulnerable space, the walls come tumbling down. The fathers openly apologize for their arrogance over farming methods, finally realizing they could have learned from each other all along. And the mothers? They express deep regret for their harsh taunts and strictness, acknowledging all the unnecessary pain they put Anjali through. As they move forward into the morning light, they make a profound pact. Step 1, they're no longer going to eat separately. They commit to cooking and eating together as one unified family in a shared kitchen. Step 2, they're going to combine Mohan's traditional wisdom with Prakasha's modern techniques so they can rebuild their ruined fields better than ever before. And step 3, definitely the most symbolic of all, they agree to permanently tear down that bamboo fence, merging their courtyards into one. It is such a beautiful resolution to a truly harrowing night. But, it leaves us with a really powerful thought to reflect on today. Why is it that we so often wait for a massive crisis to dismantle the fences we build between ourselves and the people around us? What emotional walls are you waiting for a storm to tear down? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it gave you something meaningful to chew on.